All right.
All right.
2 years ago, last October, this whale washed ashore on the shores of Nantucket Island. When it first washed ashore, it was reported to be alive and died shortly thereafter. Bill Cheville and myself flew over from the Woods Hole Oceanographic the next day to look at it and to take measurements of the whale. Almost simultaneously, the Nantucket Historical Trust decided to have this whale skeleton saved for mounting here in the museum. When they started to cut up the whale, they found that the only tools available were tools that were borrowed from the Nantucket Whaling Museum. These tools had not been used in over 100 years, but once again they were used for the purpose that they were originally made for. And the whale was cut up and completely dismembered in about 4 to 5 days, and was then put into cages and sunk in the harbor for marine animals to remove the rest of the flesh. A year later, when the boxes were pulled up, the bones were perfectly clean, and the skeleton was ready for mounting. At this time, the skeleton was sent over to me at the Woods Hole Oceanographic, and I proceeded to put it together for them. I am now doing the final mounting for it in the building that was built for the skeleton. This whale, unfortunately, cannot be identified exactly. We do not have enough information of whales of this type, and not enough specimens, that is, have been examined internally for us to be able to piece together the different pieces of information we have to exactly identify it. The number of vertebrae this animal has does not fit in the category of any of the whales that we know. The number of ribs is a different number, where the common finback, of which it would more likely be, has 16 ribs. This animal only has 14. The grooves on the belly were much too long for this whale to be fitted into the finback. So at the moment, all we can say that it is a finback type of whale. It belongs to the genus Balænoptera, but we cannot give it a specific name.
Now, I think about the whales and the extinction is the next best thing.
All right. The whales are in a bad way in the world in that they are being overfished. Predominantly, the heavy fishing for them is taking place in the Antarctic. The Azorian Islands stopped their whaling industry about a year and a half to 2 years ago. The West Coast operation from the United States was stopped about 4 years ago. Now in the North Atlantic, there are only 2 areas in which whaling is still taking place. One is off the shores of Newfoundland, and the other is off the shores of the Scandinavian countries. The whaling in Antarctica is putting the greatest pressure upon the whale population. Again, industries and the countries involved will not listen to the biologists who establish quotas, but always establish their quotas slightly beyond what the biologists state will be a safe number to take and not endanger the stock of whales. The only factor that possibly will save the whale from extinction is when the fishing pressure is so great it is no longer economically profitable to whale. Then the nations who are doing this will stop whaling, and the whales that are left possibly can reproduce and come back again. This whale the vertebrae are mounted on a pipe that has been bent to assume the natural curve of the spine, and each of the vertebrae has been drilled and strung on this pipe. They are then bolted and fastened together to make it one strong integral unit. We are then going to outline the whale in strap metal that will give the skeleton the shape and the dimension that it had when it was originally on the beach. The outline will also be shown on the floor to show the great difference of the shape of the silhouette of the fish, especially when it is viewed from the top view and from the side view. In the caudal area, the height of the whale will be a distance of about like this, but looking down on it from the side, it will only be about this thick. And this is a very striking difference in shape of the two silhouettes of this animal.